Well, hi guys. Thank you for clicking on my channel today. Hopefully you're having a great day wherever you are. So on today's video, I decided to have a hair talk. I've been wanting to do a hair talk for a while and I wanted to add that to my channel. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. So today's hair talk, I kind of want to talk about natural colored hair. So just so you guys have a little backstory on me, my hair is in the 4 category as far as hair typing. I'm in the 4 somewhere, and according to the float test, when you put your hair in water to find out your porosity, my hair floats. So my hair definitely floats to the top, so I'm a low porosity hair. And what else do we need to know? I've been coloring my hair for a long time. I've had really long hair colored. I had short hair, medium hair, and I'll insert some pictures of my different colors. I've had every color of the rainbow. So I very much love coloring my hair. I think it's a great way to express yourself, and you know, it's fun. So I decided, if you were thinking or considering coloring your hair, I thought this would be a great video for you to help you make a decision. So I kind of want to talk about the pros and the cons of colored hair, especially natural colored hair. Even though I will say that if you lighten your hair, which means you're dealing with bleach, if you are doing that, every bleach girl is going through the same thing. Once you bleach your hair, we are all going through the same struggles. I really feel like that's one of the moments where all of us are created equal. Because at the end of the day, most bleach hair goes to the same thing. It's just how you take care of it. So let me go into the cons, because spoiler alert, there is way more cons than pros. So let's just get those out the way. So the first con I'm going to say is that hair color is a journey. So if you're thinking about coloring your hair, just like anything else, working out, you don't lose weight right away, right? You have to work out for quite a bit and you'll start seeing results as you keep going with it. Same thing with, you know, when you transition actually from you know, permed hair probably to natural hair, if you're going natural. You know, it's a journey. It's not like it's just what you want right away. It just doesn't work that way. So with colored hair, there's so many things you're gonna have to go through. So one of those things is obviously picking your color, but is your hair ready for that color? So you may need to have to go on a routine before you get your hair colored, which could be going to my next con, which is getting expensive. So if you have to prep your hair prior to getting your hair colored, that may be a huge expense for you if you weren't prepared for that. That's why I always highly recommend that you go to a salon, because a good stylist, if you did your homework, which that's a whole nother video as far as how to find the right stylist, you would need, they should tell you if your hair can take whatever you're trying to do. So they'll be able to recommend where you're going. So going back to the journey, if they look at the condition of your hair and say you can't handle it, your journey may be getting your hair ready to get colored so you don't have to deal with as much damage, and you can have some healthy colored hair. Or your journey could be that your color is never going to be the one you want at first. It's very rare that you get the exact color that you know, looked at a photo or Pinterest or on a magazine or somebody on YouTube was like, I want their color. Most of the time you won't get their color until probably the 2nd or 3rd session, when you're finally happy with the color that you have, and then at that point you'll just be maintaining it, and now your stylist would have that color found. And so much goes into that, like the journey on how many lifting sessions you gotta go, because you may have to go through a couple of bleaching sessions to get your hair light enough to take the vibrant color that you want. And you know, sometimes you'll see people's hair be darker before it gets lighter, and depending on your hair, some people can go light very quickly to get the color they want, and some people have to go through it. So that's the journey you gotta go through. The other part of the journey that I think people don't talk about is you're gonna go through breakage. You're gonna go through damage. At the end of the day, you're putting a chemical on your hair. So depending on how you did it, you know, if you didn't go to the salon, you did it yourself at home, or you did go to the salon and maybe it didn't work out, or maybe you went to the salon and it worked out and you just didn't have the right products to maintain it. All of that stuff could be part of your journey and you have to learn throughout the way. So if you're not ready to commit to that journey, I would not advise it. Okay. The second thing is, again, going back to the next con, it's expensive. So a couple of things that makes it very expensive is that if you decide to go to a salon, you're going to get it done in the first place, right? So depending on what you're getting done, and I'm more focused on lightening your hair. If you're lightening your hair, that's a whole nother session. And depending on how light you're trying to get it, that can either be all in that session, which is going to be expensive, or as you periodically go to the salon, you're going to be paying every time that you get your hair lightened. And that's not including the color that you're putting on top of the lighting. So if you're not just trying to be like platinum blonde or just have a blonde hair, if you're putting a color on top, like me, I have silver, blue, and there's some purple back here somewhere, that you may have to pay for those individual colors. It's probably, depending on the salon, it could be $20 to $30 per color that's being added on top of your hair being lightened. That's expensive. Then you got the products, to maintain the color. So, you can't use your normal shampoo. You can't use normal conditioner, whatever you were doing in your natural hair form. Like, so when your hair was natural, you're probably focused on natural products, that just like, hey, they're just healthy for your hair. But certain natural products are made for, because, chemicals, because at the end of the day, bleach is a chemical, right? So natural hair products can tend to strip a color, and you went through all this work. Natural hair products can fade out the product quickly. It could also damage the hair. Because it's just not giving the right stuff to, bond your hair back, or the right amount of protein or the right amount of moisture into your hair. So you do have to switch up on products, and that could be expensive. So you should make sure that, one, you maybe ask your stylist, to recommend you some products to use when you go home that you maybe used when she did your hair. Or you need to really start doing your homework on what's right for colored hair that you would like to use for your hair. So just like you probably went through a lot of products when you were transitioning from, maybe relaxed hair to natural hair, you're going to be going through the same journey from natural hair to natural colored hair. So it's the same journey. So you're going to be going through different products and things, and that can get very expensive very quickly. So just be mindful about that. The other part of the expense is trims. So because you're getting your hair colored, you're gonna have to probably get more frequent trims. And it's very important you get trims because, of course, what trims work or breakage works. Your hair may get thin because the hair is breaking and it may break up. So you have to maintain your trims. So you got to make sure you maintain your trim so that your hair looks healthier, because when your hair is lightened, split ends show so quickly. I promise you, like, people can spot your split ends from a mile away. You can kind of hide your hair if it's unhealthy when your hair is in a natural state, because it's, maybe it's curled up if you keep it curly. But if you straighten your hair in general, you can see split ends a lot more. But when you color your hair and you have split ends, they stand out so quickly. So you got to keep up with your trims, and that could be an additional cost as well. The other thing I think a lot of people don't talk about is with the expense is you're going to have to go to the stylist more frequently, because you need to know if what you're doing, your routine that you created, is actually working. So if you're on a routine, it's good to go to your stylist to make sure that you're maintaining the color, you're maintaining your roots, because you don't just color your hair and you're done. Your hair grows from your scalp, so your natural color is growing up, so you got to get those retouched. But the other part is that your stylist can tell you, like, hey, your hair is very dry, what are you doing? Or they may tell you, hey, your routine is fantastic, what are you using? And they can kind of just talk to you about your hair. It's kind of like mini consultations as you go through it. The other thing I have on here is, the other con is you're going to spend a lot of time in your hair. So if you're a lazy natural, going to color hair is not it, because you can't be lazy with colored hair. If you're lazy with colored hair, it's going to break off. it's going to show very quickly that you weren't taking care of it. So if you plan on cutting your hair, you got to make sure that you're ready to commit to, again, that journey to make sure your hair actually looks healthy. And florists should do that, because a lot of people, remember, your hair is still growing from the scalp. You're going to see that from the new growth. What you're trying to maintain is the retention part. So it's the ends that are getting trimmed that you have to maintain when your hair is colored. So if you're not good at doing that now, you dang sure ain't gonna be used to that when you go color. The other one I have here is, the other con is you must have a routine. So if you don't have a routine now, you shouldn't go colored, because you have to have a very structured routine. And if you have a routine right now, you best believe you're finna times it by 100, right? So if you probably deep conditioned, once a month, you're going to have to go up to probably every week. If you're already deep conditioning your hair every week, you may have to go up to twice a week. It just depends on what it is. So, your protein treatments you have to stay up on. Your visits you have to stay on. When do you get your trims you have to stay on. You have to pay attention to breakage very quickly. When you're seeing it, I always recommend you wear black. But if you see the ends splitting, you can see that really quickly. Tangles, things like that. So you got to make sure you have a routine to make sure your hair can grow. And if you don't have that now, you won't be able to have a successful journey through hair coloring. The other one here is if you fall off on the routine. So for me, a good example, it's a con, because see, when my hair was just a natural color and I got sick or something, I could just put it in a ponytail and just be like, you know what, I'm sick. That's it. Recently, I got very sick, very, very sick. So I was ill for a couple months, and because of that, my hair broke off very bad. So this is probably the shortest it's been in a while. I just recently had to get it cut because I just wasn't able to maintain it. And again, when you can't, just like working out, when you fall off on your routine, it's hard to get back into the routine. So just think about that with hair color. If you don't see yourself being able to stay on the routine, your hair could look gorgeous, and then for like 8 months straight, and then on that 9th month something happens and you don't, maybe money's tight, you can't get your products that you usually get or something like that, your hair can instantly turn on you, because it's like colored hair. It's like your hair is constantly in critical condition. Like you're always in the emergency room. Your hair is always on its last leg to die when it's colored. Versus if it's a natural state, you don't have to worry about those things, but it is. So that's just something to think about. So just make sure you're not just thinking about the moment, because if you're just thinking about the moment, like spring and summer may be coming up, or you may have a vacation coming up, you're just like, I want this bold color, and that may just be for that moment, for that month or something, but it's just like, no, there's only one way out of this. The only way you can get out of colored hair is to transition out. So eventually you just keep trimming your hair, and then eventually it just grows out. Your scalp's growing out, and then you're just cutting the hair eventually. But you got to keep in mind, like if you do that, like this can get long. But if this is, black all the way through, and I cut this, that's however many inches that will be cut off. So you just got to think about that. So make sure you're just thinking about your hair. If you're thinking about coloring your hair, you have to think about it long term. So once you commit to it, it's a commitment. The other one is protective styles. So if you're a huge fan of protective styles and you love doing braids all the time, and just things that you can keep in your hair for months at a time, color hair is not for you, because you have to, and this is even for if you have highlights. I would say that too, because some people get highlights and think that's safer. But if for natural hair, I just don't think it is, because again, color treated hair needs different products than natural hair. So if you get highlights, you're basically using probably natural products, and your highlights aren't getting the color treated product. Or if you go to color treated products, you have highlights, but then your natural hair isn't getting the right product. So this is all over the place. So I really do highly recommend, if you're gonna color, just color it all. I will say that. But protective styles, you have to be mindful that you can't keep protective styles in very long with colored hair, if at all. My favorite would be wigs, I think is ideal, or faux locks because they don't take as much time. But braids, I know that takes a lot of time. And if you're going to do some type of braids or twisties, you have to do it with your natural hair colored, because you need to see the ends. Your scalp is always growing, so you can oil this. It has its natural oils and everything, but just like what's in situation with natural hair is that since our hair coils, it takes a while for the oils to wrap around, right? So it's the same thing with colored hair, but again, your hair is constantly in critical condition. So, you know, you need to see what's happening down here all the time, and it needs more moisture. Like natural hair in general needs moisture. So you add color on it, now you need even more moisture. So you need to really watch it and be careful with it. So that's why I would say you won't be able to use protective styles. So if you're a huge fan of protective styles, this may not be for you. The other kind is not retaining length. So depending on your journey, where you are in your journey, and you know, like everything, we all have setbacks. You may not be able to retain length the way you want with colored hair. So that being said, if you're on a hair growth journey, do not color your hair. It just ain't the time for that. If you're like me, where you're just like, it's hair, you know, you can always grow it back, things like that. If you have that mindset, then you're fine. But if you really love to have very long hair all the time, again, anything can happen where you may not be able to maintain the color, and you may end up going through some cuts, and you know, because of that, you're going to have a shorter cut or something like that for a little bit. But again, your hair is always growing from your scalp. So your hair is growing, unless you have a condition or something, but your hair is always growing from your scalp. So depending on that, you know, if you're really trying to have like hair down to here, which I think I've come pretty close to that, but I've always had something happen, you know, like a vacation, you know, maybe I had too much sun exposure one time, and you know, I would end up, or I just didn't ran out of my product, and I didn't hurry up and get some. It's just stuff that happens that you have to be mindful about. So as far as retention goes, I just don't think that it's something that is a con if that's what you're after. If you don't care about that, your hair is going to grow. You're going to go back and forth with different lengths with your hair color, but if that's something that's very important to you, that should be a con for you. So let's go into the pros. Alright, so some pros of coloring your hair. So if you're thinking about this, here's some pros. One of those pros, you get to express yourself, right? So, you know, whatever you're feeling, however you are, you get to show that in your hair color. So it's very much expressing yourself, and I think that is fantastic. So I think that's the number one pro. Second pro is it's your hair. Okay, at the end of the day, I know a lot of people say, well, just get a colored wig, and you know, that way you can express yourself that way. But it's nothing like having your own hair colored. It's just that simple. Like it is a good feeling to be able to rock your own hair, you know, run your fingers through it, your friends seeing your own hair, you be able to style it, swim, do whatever you need to do. Unless you're doing, the only color I would say that I would recommend you don't swim with is, there's a couple of colors that just, those really vivid, like I done red, pink, stuff like that, those things bleed, so just be careful with that. But you know, you just get to be in your own hair, you don't have to worry about a lot of things, so I just think that's fantastic. The other one here is it makes you wear your own hair out more. So like for me, when I did have my natural hair without any color, my hair was in a protective style a lot, so it was long. It was, you know, I think I will say my hair was at its longest when it wasn't colored. So, you know, if I wanted to really have extremely long hair, don't color it, right? That goes into the con. But I had it in protective styles a lot. So when I went colored, I wore my hair more out. It became my accessory. So I think that if you're someone who's like, you know, I just, you know, you're constantly wearing color wigs and things like that, that could be a sign that you prefer colored. And you know, might as well just do it with your own hair and just have that, again, that first Second one is your hair. So it's just something to think about if that's something. I think that's a pro. The other pro I have is that you can see your hair grow. You really can. Like, I mean, I can instantly know when my hair is growing because I'll have new growth. So that's really fantastic to see. So if my hair is growing and I don't have a lot of breakage and stuff like that, you know, I don't have to get trims frequently still. And yeah, you get to see how your hair is growing. So you'll know how fast your hair grows every month and stuff like that. So you're really able to get a good bond, I guess, you know, with your hair because you know what it looks like. The other one I would say is now you will have a hair routine. So if you struggle with the hair routine, hair color will kind of force you to get a hair routine because you have no choice. There's no other option. Like, this is where we're at, okay? You have to get one. So you'll be forced to have a hair routine, which everyone should have one, but this will kind of force you to go that way because if you want this, you're going to have to make a routine for it. And I guess the last pro I would say is the pride you'll have at your accomplishment. Once you get to the end of your journey, okay, you know what products work really well for you. You know how frequently you need to trim your hair. You have your best stylist that knows your hair color, knows your hair type, knows how to condition your hair and all that stuff. You know, you've got a good routine going. It's going to feel like a huge accomplishment and you're going to have so much pride in your hair because you've invested all that time, that money, that effort, and you're just going to flaunt it with so much confidence and so much pride, and it's going to look gorgeous on you. So those are my pros and cons for colored hair. Hopefully it helps you make your decision, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.